Cambodia has a Buddhist spiritual tradition. More than 3,000 monasteries have been rehabilitated across the country in recent years. But the violence of the past still haunts memories in the present. Many people wonder whether their children will find the inspiration to live by Buddhist values after such tragic times. The relevance of Buddhist practice to the needs of Cambodian society has been re-emphasized since the UN-sponsored elections in 1993. The Patriarch, Venerable Maha Ghosananda, is one person who has been an inspiration to many Cambodians. He teaches that great suffering can give rise to great compassion, and that compassion gives rise to peace. Today in the West, Buddhist monasteries flourish, and Maha Ghosananda is often invited to them. He works with people of many religious backgrounds for peace in the whole world. But Maha Ghosananda spends most of his time in Cambodia. He travels from province to province and from village to village. All the time, his message is his example, and his example is serenity and peace.
If we want other people to find peace, we have to have peace ourselves first. If we haven't got peace, how can we give peace to others? We should give an example for others to follow. We distribute a lot of books, though we don't know whether people read them or not. People often complain that the truth does not help them, but if they only read books on truth without practicing what is written, then there will be no result. If you've got rice and don't eat it, you stay hungry. If you don't drink, you stay thirsty.
How can Buddhism help society?
Buddhism can help in three ways: through people refraining from evil actions, performing good actions, and purifying their minds.
One way in which Maha Ghosananda helps to spread a message of peace through society is with the Dhammayatras, the peace marches. In a Dhammayatra, monks and nuns leave their temples and travel across the country on foot. In so doing, they remind the population that loving kindness, compassion, and forgiveness can contribute to the healing of Cambodian society.
The word Dhammayatra means to walk according to the truth. That means with compassion, a pure heart, wisdom, and step by step. It means to be mindful and to calm your mind, whether walking, standing, or lying down. When we practice this teaching, the people walking behind us will be inclined to follow our example. We have to have both faith and wisdom. These two qualities have to be balanced. And we should know the holy Sanskrit saying used by King Yayavarman VII, Om Mane Padme Hum. The head confers wisdom and the heart compassion, and both should be used together. If you use compassion without wisdom, or wisdom without compassion, the result may be counterproductive. Like a bird which has 2 wings or a human who has 2 feet, you have to use both. If you use only 1 foot, it would be difficult to walk. It is the same with compassion and wisdom.
In 1993, during the run-up to the first elections in Cambodia in 25 years, the Venerable Maha Ghosananda led a 3-week-long Dhammayatra from Angkor Wat to the capital, Phnom Penh.
In the recent past, our leaders have not understood the teaching of the Buddha, and they have attached little importance to it. Now they acknowledge that the Dhamma will bring happiness to ourselves, our family, our society, our nation, and the whole world. We're going to replant trees. The king, the father of the nation, has said that we should do this because it will help the rainfall. We live in the environment. If the environment is not healthy, then we cannot live properly. At times there is too much smoke or too much dirt. The forest helps to purify the air and regulate the rainfall.
Between 1970 and 1995, half the forest in Cambodia was cut down. Trees as old as the medieval civilization of Angkor have been felled and exported. This loss of trees is disturbing the natural balance, causing more droughts and more floods, and destroying the natural wealth of Cambodia's huge lake, the Tonle Sap.
We have to explain that felling trees will lead to very bad consequences for the people who do it, for their families, their country, and for the people of the whole world. But if we look after the trees, then the consequences will be beneficial. The universe has interrelations. If we're suffering, then another part of the world suffers as well. If we have drought, then another part of the world will also experience problems. Trees are very important. Like in the life of the Buddha was born under a tree, he found enlightenment under a tree, and he passed away under a tree. Our houses are built of timber, and trees provide us with fruit. We owe a lot to trees and to nature in general. Nature is very important. To have peace with our neighbors, we have to respect each other. Geographically, we live side by side. We cannot move away from our neighbors. And after all, human beings are brothers and sisters. We may be born as a Vietnamese, or as a Thai, or as a Cambodian. Therefore, there is a proverb.
The world is our house, for all human beings are our brother and sister. To love them, to help them, to serve them are our duty in our religion.
This is contained within the 10 supreme virtues of Buddhism. All human beings are our mother. Sometimes we take birth as a man, sometimes as a woman. The Buddha once took birth as a woman, and he made a vow to be enlightened as a Buddha.
Before his enlightenment, Gautama was assailed by the forces of Mara, the tempter. When he'd overcome these trials and temptations, he found joy and serenity.
You
have to experience the suffering yourself and also to see others suffer. Then you can feel compassionate towards yourself. Like the Buddha, he experienced suffering himself and he saw others suffer. He saw the suffering of birth, aging, and death. And then he felt compassion towards his son, his wife, his mother, and father, and all sentient beings throughout the world. One of our great kings always had compassion towards his subjects. He said the suffering of his subjects affected him more than his own suffering, because, quote, the suffering of the people is the suffering of the king. King Yayavarman VII, who constructed Angkor Thom, had such a feeling towards his people. The 4 faces of Angkor Thom represent loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. If we abide by these boundless qualities, then the war will end and happiness will follow. We simply tell people the truth. When you are hungry, eat some food. When you are thirsty, have something to drink. We shouldn't blame anybody but ourselves. If we blame others, they become upset. But we do have to tell people the truth. We have to explain why we suffer. We suffer because of craving, aversion, and illusion. To attain happiness, we must practice generosity, morality, and meditation, and thereby transcend the world.
In his book, Step by Step, the Venerable Maha Ghosananda explains ways in which ordinary people can be creators of peace.
There is little we can do for peace in the world without peace in our minds. And so, when we begin to make peace, we begin with silence, meditation and prayer. When we stabilize our posture and calm our mind, we can realize peace within ourselves. Then we can radiate loving kindness to those around us, our family, our community, our nation, and the whole world. Peacemaking requires compassion. It requires the skill of listening. To listen well, we have to give up ourselves, even our own words. As we come to trust one another, we discover new possibilities for resolving conflicts. Peacemaking requires selflessness. There is little we can do for peace as long as we think we are the only ones who know the way. Peacemaking requires wisdom. Peace is a path that is chosen consciously. It is not an aimless wandering, but a step-by-step journey.
Breathing
is very important. Without breathing, there is no life. Without breath, there is no body. If the body is controlled, the mind is controlled. If the mind is controlled, you have control over yourself. If the body is stilled, the mind can be mastered. When the mind is mastered, then you have mastered yourself. We are advised to be mindful and to understand the law of karma, that good deeds will bring happiness and bad deeds will bring suffering. If you kill, then ultimately you yourself get killed. Your life is shortened. Whereas if you don't kill, your life will be long. We Buddhists must find the courage to leave our temples and enter the temples of human experience, temples that are filled with suffering. If we listen to the Buddha, Christ, or Gandhi, we can do nothing else. The refugee camps, the prisons, the ghettos, and the battlefields will then become our temples. We must remove the landmines in our hearts which prevent us from making peace. Greed, hatred, and delusion. We can oppose greed with the weapon of generosity. We can oppose hatred with the weapon of loving kindness. We can oppose delusion with the weapon of wisdom. Peacemaking begins with us. As we make peace for ourselves and our country, we make peace for the whole world. We always want a lot, but everything starts in a small way. We were born as tiny beings, and now we are adult. We want to reach the horizon in a few steps and don't realize that the important thing is here and now. breathing in, breathing out, word by word. We've just had a lot of words. Everything progresses by the same principle, step by step.